A lot of times, we're not going to have the Harry Belafontes. We're not going to have the Ozzie Davises if we don't allow for the Cassius Clays to become the Muhammad Alis. If we don't allow for the Malcolm Littles to become Malcolm X. If we allow for the corporate powers that we're actually fighting against to give us the leaders for our generation, then we're going to be in a lot of trouble. And so we saw somebody who was emerging, who was talking about the climate, who was talking about the war, who was talking about poverty, but at the same time was also in house arrest. And so we began to find him and ask him, will you be engaged? He's like, man, I can't even vote. I can't even be involved. And my good friend, Dr. Ray, who's one of our attorneys at the caucus, said, man, you gotta get T.I. And so we got T.I., and T.I. was there, we sat down. T.I. was engaged, okay, with the Respect My Vote campaign. It was a campaign that actually starts now. Because the Respect My Vote campaign was a campaign that we recognized that a lot of times that in the urban community, and the people that vote is not respected. That vote is not taken care of. And so we want that vote to be respected. Even if Barack Obama was to be elected, or Hillary Clinton, or even John McCain, or whoever was running, we wanted that after November 4th, we wanted that vote to be respected in those communities. That's actually more important because right now, we didn't want to have, we didn't want to elect Barack Obama and continue to have endless wars, or elect Hillary Clinton and still have poverty, or still have a climate that's out of control. We recognize that our generation, at this time, 8 years into the 21st century back then, was at a critical moment. And if we didn't get it right in 2008, at that point in time, literally, not only talking about equality, but existence for us was on the line. And so these are some of the points that we did in 2008. And I would love to dialogue because obviously a lot of things came out of that. We got laughed at when T.I. first started. We took a lot of heat because at first we thought he couldn't vote in that process. And eventually we found that he could vote, and he voted. And we know that we registered the most people who had felons who came out of prison in history, who became a part of this campaign. And if you understand what that means, to be somebody, a man or woman, to come out of prison and to come back and I have your baby and your child. And they're talking about voting for Barack Obama, and you can't get involved. You can imagine what that can have. You can imagine when there's no institutional void in that process. You can't go to the student center, but you're working at IKEA, at the car wash. How important is it to see a T.I. and the Simmons sisters and Akeisha Cole also got board to be on board. The rest of the most felons ever at one time. We registered in one day 30,000 people. Amazing. Actually, I think they said it was some kind of record in that process.